Welcome to Mission Control, Peralta Design's podcast on everything business, tech, and marketing. Since 2008, Peralta Design has launched hundreds of successful brands. Join Ramon and the PD flight crew as they use decades of combined experience to tackle current events and interview guests, while dropping valuable industry knowledge. At Peralta Design, we launch brands. But for now, let's launch right into this episode.
3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Me la voy a llevar a todas pa' un VIP, ey. Saluden a Titi, vamos a tirarnos un selfie. 6 chis, ey. Que sonrían las que ya le en un VIP, ey. Saluden a Titi, vamos a tirarnos un selfie. 6 chis, que sonrían las que ya se olvidaron de mí.
Okay, yes, that was a bit of Bad Bunny. That was Titi me preguntó. Titi me preguntó. Let me say that properly. And welcome to Mission Control. This is Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands. I'm in studio here with our live studio audience. Yes, they're here. They pay to come to this show. Okay, so we have to recognize them. And we have Kevin joining me. Jorge is AWOL.
Slacking.
He's slacking.
In Cape Cod.
Yeah, he's out he decided to take vacation in the summer. Who does that?
Strolling on the beach while we're hard at work.
Exactly. So, and I'm very excited because we have some real special guests. I'm very honored to have Andre y Alejandro Cordido of Somos Arepas.
How we doing?
So you know that Somos Arepas, that actually means that you are physically an arepa.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
We embody the arepa that we grew up eating here.
You become one.
We become one, exactly.
Okay.
I had a t-shirt to see that says arepas make my body how it is.
Is that
created
good?
From arepas and tequeños.
Okay, so when are the protein arepas coming out, like the keto ones?
I don't know. It's a great question. We'll see.
They're all good though for you, you know, just made out of corn. You put all your proteins in it already.
Absolutely.
You can't see me right now, but if you can see, I'm about, 185 lean, pure muscle.
Nice.
And that's because I eat arepas every single day. So. Thank God we don't have cameras in here.
By the way, we should get some footage of it. So we'll have to get Shanice
some video.
Take some video for the show. So before we dive in, because I can't wait to hear your story and your expansion, and now you're in Shelton, which is awesome. And recently had the ribbon cutting. We'll get to the story. Before that, Kev, we have to have this. This has to be settled for once and for all, whether or not a cupcake is a muffin or a muffin is a cupcake. And if so, are you having dessert for breakfast, or is it actually a healthy option?
Well, and this actually reminds me of a debate that me and Jorge can get into further detail on just what even makes what's considered breakfast, right? That's much bigger, but I mean, at least when I remember going to Dunkin' Donuts and it was like, oh, I don't want to eat donut for breakfast, I'm gonna get a muffin, and then I found out it's got more calories. I might as well just eat the donut. So I mean, I think it's all fair game.
You're looking at that and it's like a blueberry muffin is like 1,100 calories, and a glazed donut it's like 290.
Yeah.
So you're like,
I'm like, I could eat 2 glazed donuts. I'll be fine.
Well, what I do, I was out recently visiting my son in San Diego, so they have tons of great, and everything's a burrito, by the way, in California. Like, everything's just inspired. They'll turn anything into a burrito. You have like burritos all day long, breakfast ones, dinner ones. But we would just get French toast for dessert. So you order your, we had like a chorizo, egg and cheese sandwich, and then we would split and order French toast for dessert. So I'm a big proponent of dessert with every meal.
I did that on Sunday when I went out for brunch, except I didn't split it. I ate the whole thing by myself. I got my meal, and then I also got to order a French toast.
Kevin's also famous for what he calls second breakfast.
Okay.
So he'll eat breakfast, a full breakfast with the potatoes and the toast, and then like sometime around 10 a.m. you'll see him having another breakfast.
A little snack there.
A blueberry
second
muffin.
Breakfast, second lunch. After I got my soup waiting for me from when we leave here. Oh, I should see the picture of the burger I had earlier.
Oh man, we got to see that.
I'll have to put this on social and promote Dana.
Where's it from?
It was from Creative Kitchen, right in Shelton. It was a burger on the menu, but then I customized it to add more things to it. Look at this. I had to have someone take a picture. I'm like,
oh man, our studio audience is just drooling over this thing.
Wow.
Good.
Holy mackerel.
I'll be going there tomorrow for lunch.
I did hit In-N-Out Burger one time when I was out there. That's my son's favorite.
how was it?
Good. He ordered it with animal style.
Is the hype real? Because I've never had it.
It's they only have burgers and fries. That's it.
Okay.
But the hype is around having inside information on how to order it because the menu is very limited. So like he ordered it animal style. There's nothing on the menu that says animal style. So I guess that's the allure is that there are all these like, I'm sure there's other things you can order that are not on the menu that you just have to tell the
cashier.
So
cashier.
What is animal style?
So animal style, he ordered the burger animal style, a double cheeseburger animal style, and the fries animal style. And it looks like some sort of a Chipotle sauce, but then in the sauce is like bits of bacon. And basically that's like poured
Turned
over.
into a burrito.
Yeah. So basically that's poured all over the fries. It's poured all over the burger. So it's just a sauce that has like bacon in it, I think.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, California, I mean, the food was just incredible.
Have you guys ever heard of Nando's? Ever eaten at Nando's?
Nando's? No, not that I know of.
So I'd only heard about, I think, I'm trying to remember who the interview was. It might have been Post Malone, someone. It was one of these rappers that was going overseas for a tour. They were talking about the first time, like, first thing they do when they get off the plane is they find a Nando's and go there. And I was like, ever since then, I've been like, what's Nando's?
And it's overseas or it's here in the States?
Well, at the time, I was like, I guess it was only overseas. And like, I know they had them in like UK. It was like bigger over there. And I was like, I want to try it. And I didn't think they had them in the United States. I went to go visit my sister down in Virginia, and my niece is like, yeah, we could go eat at Nando's. I'm like, wait,
what?
I'm like, it can't be the same Nando's, right? And then she was like, yeah, it's been there for a while. And then I look it up. They only have them in Virginia, DC, Maryland. So like that whole area, and then Chicago.
What food is it? Burgers as well?
No, they only do chicken.
Chicken.
They only do chicken, and they're all known for this peri-peri sauce. It's like this South African Portuguese sauce, and you can get it in varying levels of spice. But they do like chicken thighs. You can get half chicken, quarter chicken, chicken wraps, sandwiches, but only chicken, and then different peri-peri sauce you can add to it. And the sides are pretty good too. Like because I'm guessing it's kind of like, fast food to put the level of food that you get, maybe like a Five Guys, but like how good the food was for how quickly I got it.
Yeah. Wow. Nando's.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's called Nando's. Like I said, I heard him talking about it, and I'm like,
add that to the list.
And then I don't know if you ever seen the show Atlanta, Donald Glover's show. I saw it in there too, where they were talking about this guy got a Nando's inside his house because it was the only way he can get the peri-peri sauce all the time.
Wow.
So that's why I was like, I have to try this.
And how was the hype? Was it worth it?
It was good.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked it. Would I drive down there just to get it?
But Nando's just sounds
if you're in the area though,
you're. Oh yeah, when I'm down there, I'm like, I wanted some food.
But it's African. It sounds like I would assume it would be Portuguese by the name.
Well, it's I guess the sauce, like the peri-peri sauce, is like a South African Portuguese sauce because it's made with these
South African
red
Portuguese.
African chilies.
Cape Verdean is all right, maybe. African,
I guess
Portuguese.
it's made with these. I guess it's maybe like a Portuguese sauce, but it's made with these African chilies. Is like the main ingredient.
Wow.
Okay, so now we can segue into our guests who are dominating the arepas market right now. You guys have multiple locations. Your brothers in business. I can't wait to hear all about it. How did this come about?
Well, it came about years and years ago when we first started eating arepas as kids. Growing up, we've always been eating arepas for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So breakfast arepas we would eat for dinner, and dinner arepas we would eat for breakfast, just like the muffin in the...
So you guys are heritage-wise Colombian?
Venezuelan.
Yep. Venezuelan. And is it known for arepas? Because I've had them where meat's on top, you guys put it inside. So get into like, how did you guys eat them? And is it something that your country is known for?
Yeah. So just a little backtrack. Our parents are from Venezuela. They came here right after they got married. So obviously when it had us, we were starting to eat arepas. In Venezuela, you eat arepas, you stuff them. Venezuelan arepas are stuffed. Colombian arepas usually have cheese in the middle. And it kind of gets stacked up on top with everything over it. So ours are more like a sandwich.
Like a pita.
Yeah, kind of like a pita. It's made out of corn. Basically, we just cut it down the middle, kind of, and you stuff it with all different things. In Venezuela, they stuff it with everything: bacon, cheese. You got eggs. You got just everything.
It's somewhat of a taco in a way.
Yeah,
kind of like because I think when it's piled, it's a little. You got to use a knife and fork. Whereas when you guys serve it, you can eat it on the go, or with your hands, pretty much.
Yep. So Venezuela, no one eats them with forks and knives.
Yeah.
Well, when we started opening
That's
up
like
here,
the cornbread lesson I learned painfully on social media. I made the mistake. I won't go into all of the detail, but I did make the mistake of eating cornbread with a fork.
Jesus.
And I was ripped into. I was dragged. I was publicly dragged because apparently in the black community, you never eat cornbread with a fork. It's always with your hands. Huh. I learned my lesson. So I made a new video. Yeah, so you learned something.
Yeah. So it's funny, when we started selling arepas here, a lot of people didn't know how to eat them, right? Oh, can I get a fork? Can I get a fork? I'm like, well, you really don't eat them with a fork. You're supposed to eat them just kind of like a burrito. You eat them, and then after, like, you know what? Screw it. Just give everyone forks. Do you want a fork with it? You want a fork with it? And that's the way it is now.
So I have a question. So, because you guys also have, I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation, but it was the cachapa?
Cachapa.
The menu?
What's that?
Yep. So a cachapa is our version of a Colombian arepa. So Colombian arepas are sweeter. They're made with, ground up corn. So that's what the Venezuelan cachapa is. It's made out of ground up corn, pretty much like a pancake if you think about it. So it's a sweet corn pancake. It's a good size. You put everything on top and you fold it over like a quesadilla. So again, those traditionally are just cheese in it, just cheese. You fold it up and,
Thinner.
And a little thinner than arepas. But then again, we opened this up and then people were just throwing everything into the cachapas. So, beef,
I threw a lot
beans,
in there.
People throw everything in there.
Not surprised.
Yeah. And to our disbelief, it just tastes great in there. Obviously not to what we're used to. Like I said, it's not traditional, but what is traditional with our restaurant now, everything is kind of a modern take on kind of what we grew up eating. So the cachapa, people love it, and again, it's sweet and, the salty beef and, the 7 sauces that we make.
Yeah.
So everything,
I love that sweet and
everything just
mix.
comes together. Yeah, me too. I'm
so
a
good.
huge kind of salty and sweet guy. We can get into this later, but I would eat Oreos with every meal because I love kind of that sweet and salty. But that's just kind of personal stuff that we don't have to talk about
Kev,
here.
Surprise question. Butter or sugar on your grits?
Butter.
Okay. Got it. So more savory, more like shrimp and grits guy.
So I'll say this: I'm not
And
I'm not like some people
represent the entire black community right now. Just FYI.
I know some people will shame you for putting sugar on grits, and I will say, as a child, I that was my thing. I loved it, and then people will be like, "You don't do that." I'm like, "Yeah, you do." Like, because I'm like, do whatever you want with food.
You broke tradition.
Yeah, do whatever. But no, like if I'm gonna eat it now, it's gonna be with some grits and eggs.
Yeah. I grew up on farina, cream of wheat.
That too.
My mom would put like a 5-pound bag of sugar in, of course.
Because that's when I saw it. I was like, oh, grits. Yeah, this is like cream of wheat. And they're like, no. And I'm like, sugar. They're like, no. And I'm like, yes.
Tastes great.
It tasted fine to me. So, I mean, if you put sugar in your grits, go for it. I know some people put butter and sugar in it. I'm like, hey, have fun. Whatever you want to do. And I was saying about the cachapas before, because when I ordered it, I thought I was going to be able to eat it with my hand.
Oh, no.
I also thought it was going to be
small.
Small.
Yeah.
So it's more like a crepe size?
Like more like a crepe size, and that you do eat with a fork and knife. You got to cut it and dig into it. So
it's a meal. Highly recommend.
Definitely a meal. If you're hungry, definitely go for it.
I love how it's balanced because you got your proteins, your fats, your carbs, all like.
And a lot of vegetables too.
A lot of vegetables.
Pickled onions, tomatoes, jalapenos. Obviously, the things that go the most are the sweet plantains.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite.
I guess it's so hard to find them here.
Yeah.
We always eat them at home, so I never actually went out to a restaurant ordering sweet plantains, but people come like, oh my God, we can't find sweet plantains anywhere. Yeah. This is amazing. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah.
Where do you source this stuff? Like, is it from New York, or how do you supply your restaurants?
Yeah, so most of our distributors are local. Okay. So we do most local stuff. It's funny, I had a produce guy. He literally just walked into our New Haven location one day. I used to work at a restaurant in New Haven before we opened this up. So I used the distributors that they were using, just kind of what I knew. And this guy walked in one day. He was like, hey, I'm a produce guy, like local stuff. I said, yeah, wow, dude, like, let me see what you got. Let me see your pricing. And we started working with him ever since.
Awesome.
So, most of our stuff we do through that. We do use bigger brands for, kind of generic stuff that we use in paper goods and stuff like that.
Bulk stuff.
Exactly, for the bulk stuff. But again, we try to keep it local if we can.
So you're growing up, you're eating arepas 3 times a day or more.
Yep.
Your mom just had a secret recipe. She made them at home, or did you guys have like an extended family where maybe grandma was there making them as well?
So, definitely started with grandma, I would say. When we were kids, we
Abuelita.
Abuelita. She was the one in charge.
Yeah.
When we grew up in this country, obviously it was just our parents here. So my mother would always cook for us. That's one thing that I can appreciate in the Hispanic culture. Every night you sit down with your family and you have dinner. So that was an awesome thing for us to kind of grow up with. And again, my mom was making what she was used to eating. Every summer we would spend the summer in Venezuela. We would go for 3 months, spend the whole summer there. So it was awesome. We were, growing up with our cousins, and
I know your mom couldn't wait for that.
Yeah, she was excited.
Man, break time.
Yep. Running around with everyone. Yep. Her.
She was counting down the days. two little rugrats. Yeah, 2 rugrats running around. I can imagine.
There's actually 3 of us, even more. 3 boys.
So your brother's not in the business?
No, the oldest one, he does real estate.
Okay.
So he's helped us along the way.
He's more like a silent partner maybe, or a supporter?
Nah, not a partner, just a supporter. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He comes and eat every day in our New Haven
location. Does he try to get free food because he's a brother?
He does sometimes. And we're nice sometimes. So sometimes we'll be like, okay, this one's on us.
Yeah, all right.
Nah, he's a good dude. So we definitely have looked up for him, and he has helped us throughout this process. But yeah, so again, my grandmother would cook this food, and my mom made it for us. And I remember just going to Venezuela as kids, and they had a beach house, and I remember in the morning, waking up early, just in the kitchen cooking. Me as the youngest, I would say I was kind of, I don't want to say a mama's boy, but I was kind of closer to my mother, just kind of helping out when all the brothers didn't really want to do stuff around the house.
Yeah.
As the youngest, I got kind of, put into situations to kind of always help out, which I enjoyed. Right. I mean, that meant helping in the kitchen. So, helping my mom and just kind of seeing how she did stuff. And, my grandmother, when she would come visit us, or we were in Venezuela.
It's a good thing you didn't have
it's just simple, this is the good thing about this. It's simple food.
It is.
I had someone come into our Shelton location today. First time there, she came with her mother and her daughter, and just talking about the menu and kind of all the spices that we use and all the ingredients. I said, listen, miss, it's pretty simple, onions, peppers, garlic, that's used in all of my meats. Yeah. The arepa is just ground up cornmeal that we add water, salt, a little bit of oil, and that's it. So this food is just, it's very good, but it's super simple to make. And I think that's kind of what kind of.
And it's very scratch. There aren't levels. It's not processed. It's
correct.
Not, it's these are pretty much pure ingredients that are just put together.
Put together, exactly. There's nothing crazy added to it. It's just simple ingredients that come together and they make an awesome product.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't want us to get too sidetracked, but good thing your dad wasn't, getting you guys out of the kitchen or discouraging you from maybe not following the traditional macho roles of you shouldn't be helping your mom. You should be helping me cut the grass or doing something different. But you guys felt drawn to being in the kitchen? Was that always a passion in your family?
I think so. And another thing, we were, like I said, going out to dinner, eating dinner as a family was always our thing.
Yeah.
So my dad and my mom loved going out to dinner on the weekends. And that's, one thing that we shared together. Mm-hmm. We would all go out as a family, no matter what, we would always go out to dinner. So food has always been, to me at least, kind of that binder that brings a family together. I mean, not just cooking it, but just enjoying it,
It is something that Latinos have to fight with because we can end up eating emotionally because it's we associate all good times with food, bad times with food,
everything with food.
But that's awesome. It's definitely central in the Latino culture.
Absolutely.
The food. Did you guys have any favorite restaurants that inspired you or that as kids that you loved going to?
I always loved Italian food.
Yeah.
Chicken parm, I can eat it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I used to love chicken parm. But yeah, no, we just, like he said, we used to go out to a lot of different restaurants and try different cuisines and try different foods. And we're always into wow, this is a cool thing. We really like going out, spending time. And when we got a little bit older, we loved going out to the restaurant with friends, socializing and trying different things. Everyone all our friends were like, where do you want to go to another restaurant tonight? Yeah, let's do it. It's kind of so we always kind of grew up socializing with restaurants and eating food and bringing everyone together. So when we decided to open a restaurant, we're like, let's do it. We love food. We know everyone's going to want to come hang out and enjoy our food with us. So let's just do it.
Yeah. Now, consumers love a good brand story. Are there any recipes that come right from your mom's kitchen? Are the arepas made the same way? Did you guys get any kind of home recipes?
Absolutely. I think most of the stuff that we make is, what my mom would make, what my grandma would make, our shredded beef to the T is what, my mom would make us every day. I have a really good friend of mine who would beg my mom to make the beef every time.
Slow cooked beef,
Carne
guisada, kind of.
Carne machada.
Carne machada, it's called. And I remember, my white American friend would want to come over all the time and have your mom make the beef, white rice and that beef, sweet plantains.
Yeah, you pour it on top.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
Sauce, yeah.
Oh.
So, again, it's kind of all
you guys
what we grew up with.
Any food with you?
Yeah, well, I was getting hungry. I wasn't planning on getting hungry like this.
Look, you got any arepa in your pocket or anything?
Speaking of the sauces, you guys have, say, about 7 sauces.
Yep. So we have 7 sauces all make in house. Some of them are traditional. Other ones we just kind of came up with. Our culinary director, this guy, Javon, that we work with, a young kid. I used to work with him at another restaurant. I brought him along. He was kind of the mastermind behind some of the sauces. He has an official culinary background, went to culinary school. Us kids, we never went to culinary school. We just kind of did stuff in the kitchen. So he definitely helped us kind of create the sauces. A funny story, me and him, when we first started off, we were like, all right, let's just try and make some sauces. So I remember going over to his house and we're like, how hard can this be, right? Let's look up online and find a recipe. We have a couple that we already know how to make from, grandma and mom, but the other ones, we'll do it. Wow. Yeah. What a waste of a night that was. What a waste of a night. Nothing.
The classic mayonnaise and ketchup.
Yeah.
Get that one out of the way.
We screwed that one up too.
It was crazy though. We were just like, wow, like, are we in over our heads right now? Like, what's going on here?
Start reconsidering life.
Yeah. And then after talking to Javon, he was like, dude, don't worry about it. Like, I'll take care of it. Like, it's easy.
Well, good on you as an entrepreneur to hire somebody smarter than you that knows, that's trained and has the background. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with trying to control everything and never make that leap of saying, I gotta bring somebody on that can bring that as an asset, to our team.
So what does he do as a culinary director?
So when we first opened, he was still working at the other restaurant. He was working a couple days a week because we opened up during the middle of COVID. So the restaurant that we used to work at shut down and they were kind of only doing takeout on the weekends and stuff like that. So he had some time on his hands. The menu was pretty much set, but I've never really worked in a kitchen in terms of kind of running it and like the operations and kind of organizing everything like that. So he was kind of the brains on organizing the kitchen and, order this and this is when you need to order. This is, how stuff goes. So more of like the day-to-day operations is kind of getting everything up and running. But now with our second location, he's been huge in helping out and too. Just someone you can trust no matter what, bounces back and forth whenever we need him, stepping in roles and kind of just taking over whenever, me and my brother kind of aren't there to kind of help out in situations.
Take us back to that moment. When did the light bulb go off that you wanted to open up a restaurant?
Oh, I went to school in South Florida, and I used to love going to the arepas in South Florida because there's nothing around here. So every time I'd be down there, before I even went down there, I used to go visit with my buddy once a year, down to Boca. And there's not that many Venezuelan places, but a little further south, there's a lot. So every year I'd be like, all right, we got to go here. It's like, nah, I don't want to go. Like, we got to go. So we'd go eat, and I love having arepas because you can't find them here, right? Only the ones we eat at home. So started eating those all the time. And when I moved to South Florida for school, I started eating them all the time. And then I went to school for entrepreneurship and small business management. So I always had that mind of like what I want to do. With him, I was like, we got to start something. What do you want to do? What can we do? So many different things to do. And then I remember one time I was just sitting in New Haven at a saddle shop. And then for some reason, some kids were talking about arepas. Yale kids were like, oh my God, we love arepas. And I heard him. I'm like, turn around. I'm like, you guys know arepas? I was like, yeah, we ate them. I forgot where it was, New York or something. It's like, we love arepas. And I was like, oh my God, let me just open up an arepa restaurant. So then I started thinking that. I'm like, you know what? But I want to do it not a traditional arepa. I want to make it a little bit more modern. Like right now, we stuff everything inside of them, right? Like you would never put jalapeno inside an arepa. We had Venezuelans come and they see Americans building and they're like, that's not the right way. Yeah. We're like, this is a more modern take of things. You know what I mean? We're changing up things because it tastes just as good. They're just not used to it. Like he said, they're not used to putting stuff in it. Like the cachapa is just cheese, but people were putting in pickled onions, jalapenos, lettuce. They're like, what are you guys doing? Like, but it tastes phenomenal.
Right. So you're gonna have that clash of the classic,
correct,
or a bit of fusion, or a bit of influence,
correct.
Of so I mean that's I think just modern times, being with the times,
evolution of things,
the evolution, knowing your audience, knowing your clients and customers and what they want.
Yeah. So then once we had the idea, great, we have an idea. Now here comes the hard part, which we didn't think it was going to be so hard to start. We're like, how hard can this be? Just a small little arepa place. Like, let's start going. Now look for funding, right? First of all, no one wants to give us any money. No banks, nobody wants to give us money because we don't have any restaurant industry experience.
Did you have a business plan or?
Yeah. So I went to school for entrepreneurship. So I was very good at business plans, very good at all that stuff. So we had all that set, but we had legit no experience. Like, well, what do you guys know about the kitchen? What do you guys know about restaurants? Well, like, we don't, but we know we can figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just the things what we do. Eventually we found someone that gave us money, and then cool, we had the money, now let's find a space. We want to go to prime locations, but landlords were like, you guys don't have no experience. Why would I rent out a space to you guys? I don't know if it's going to do well. Right. And especially being arepas. They're like, what is an arepa? Right? Like, what kind of food is this?
Yeah.
We're like, no, we're just explaining this is. People are like, I'm telling you.
You were saying, hey, we're going to open a pizza joint.
Exactly.
They're like, okay, pizza's going to do well, or burgers.
Exactly.
So something new.
So
start bringing samples.
Yeah.
Like, here,
try this.
Exactly.
You tell me what you think.
So honestly, we're getting
like a drug dealer. Here, try this.
Yeah. We were getting to run around from tons of landlords. Like, yeah, we love you guys. You know, I'll call you back next month. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, next week. And then we're like, you know what? Like, and our older brother, he's our commercial real estate agent. He's the broker that does everything for us. So he was like, dude, he's like, this is hard. Yeah. Like, no one wanted to take us in. And we, in New Haven, Beacon Communities, they're like, you know what? Let's take a chance on you guys. And I remember we met with them. Like, the whole Beacon Communities is from Massachusetts. The whole like committee came to meet with us.
Is it like an incubator or an accelerator program?
No, it's just they own a lot of real estate and they own the building. And the whole committee came meet with us. When does that ever happen?
Give you a shot.
But they're like asking us tons of questions because like they were like, oh my God, we don't know, like, they know what they're doing. So after they're like, all right, these guys kind of know what they're doing. They sound smart. They're like, oh, let's do it. So we ended up signing with them.
Wow.
So they gave us a shot, and we're very grateful to them.
Through like a vetting process, like they were kind of grilling you to
the whole committee was asking us questions.
Yeah.
You know, to see if we knew what we were talking about and what we wanted to do. But yeah, we're super grateful for them. They gave us the opportunity, and if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. Wow. You know, so
shout out to them, man.
Yeah, shout out to
Beacon. Absolutely.
Yeah, nobody does it alone.
Nope.
Sure. And did you have to get into margins? Like say, hey, look, an arepa costs us this, and we're going to sell it for that. They wanted to know all the margins.
Well, they didn't ask so much about that. They kind of just asked about mostly like experience and what do you guys see for the future for this location?
Okay.
Right. And we also, me and my older brother do real estate. So we were showing them plans and this is what we see, like the branding of the color schemes of everything.
You guys came in real well branded because there are some mom and pops that never quite grasp that.
Correct.
And they stay with like neon sign and random menus and but everybody's wearing regular clothes.
Correct.
They probably felt maybe that would have brought the real estate down.
Yeah.
It didn't look like almost franchisable.
Exactly. So our whole goal has been to expand, right? So obviously me going to school for entrepreneurship and he having a background, he went to school for marketing. We kind of knew what we wanted to do. You know what I mean?
And you can see it.
Yeah.
And
what
you've done.
And we're young kids. We're always on social media. We see what people are doing. We see what's hot now. So that's what we started building our brand, you know, our logo, everything's from scratch. Like me and my wife created the logo. I didn't actually draw it out, but the idea, you know, the color schemes, I was seeing different restaurants in different like states, different, especially down in Miami, like color schemes that you like the pink that we use. So like all that stuff was tying in together and actually came out great.
Yeah. And like, cool. Handcrafted, did you guys toy with like artisan or small batch or kind of going for that vibe?
We didn't know what we wanted to do. There's so many, we went, I always point to him like, hey, figure it out. Like, I'm not good with words. Like, I'm not the one who's going to figure out like the slogan and all that stuff. I'm just not that guy. So I'm like, I need help with this. Cause like handcrafted, like you said, artisan, I forgot what else we had. We had a bunch of different ones.
Things. Yeah.
But then we decided handcrafted is perfect because you actually grab it with your hand. You actually craft it with your own hands. Right. Yeah. Build everything. So like this works good.
And how about the assembly line that you guys have? Was that inspired by any other restaurant, or did you guys kind of figure out this is where we want to have the condiments and the meats and things like that?
Yeah. So obviously we know fast casual is getting huge. I've always been
the assembly line kind of.
Yes.
The idea of like you watching your food.
Correct. The
made.
Chipotle style. That's basically who invented the fast casual, you know. I've always looked up to them and realized how simple things were. Right. So that's when I say we want to change, make our arepa restaurant more modern. Yeah. Right. And there's I want to say maybe 2 or 3 other locations in the country that have the same assembly line, because arepas aren't, they're better. Now I want to say better. People like to order them to go, right? Made to go. But that takes forever. You'll see people waiting in lines, waiting for 10 minutes for us to cook the arepa, for bake the arepa, to make the food and bring it out. Nowadays, we don't have time for that, right? We don't have time. We have 30 minutes to go get lunch. We got to drive 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes to eat, 10 minutes to drive back, right? So we're like, this is the way we want to style it. We got to make it faster for people. We're going to make it more convenient for people.
Faster, but you can also see and pick your ingredients.
Correct. And we started realizing, we started figuring out ways to make the food taste just as good, maybe even better, faster. So we have like different techniques that we use in the back that makes things a lot more simple.
Just don't do what Chipotle does, because I get annoyed.
In terms of what?
A baby scoop of
of everything.
Chicken.
Yeah.
$3.
It's like the smallest scoop in the world. And then they look at you and you're looking at them like, really?
Yeah, ask a little bit more.
Like, can I have a little more
extra?
And then it's gonna be extra. And you're like, I know, like I got this.
That should actually be a future discussion too. Chipotle versus Panchero. Panchero's is better.
Yeah, I go with them. I'm in the mood for that. But we got Somos Arepas now, and for the entrepreneurs out there, how do you mentioned that you always had the vision of expansion, but how did you? When did you know that you were ready to open up another location? What's the sign?
Are we ever ready? There's always gonna be doubts, right? Like, can we survive? If our people in Shelton are gonna like it? Fear. There's all different things. But we're like, for us, launching our first restaurant was huge for us, right? We're already out of our comfort zone. So like anything now, like we'll figure it out. Yeah. We opened up during smack of COVID. Right. We were going to open up in March, and we couldn't because everything got locked down. So we opened up in June, and we survived. Everything had to be changed. The way we served people, masks, all the 10 feet, like everything had to be changed. So we had to modify everything. So that was, to us, was like a recognition. Like, you know what? We can open it up during COVID. Right. We can shift a lot of things around and move different parts that we didn't think we were going to have to, and still survive. I think we're doing okay. Yeah. So
you got to be a little crazy, man. Yeah. To be an entrepreneur, you got to take chances. Yeah. And you got to go.
But you also got to take calculated risk, right? You're not just going to be like, oh, I want to do this. You just do it. You got to kind of know what you're doing. Have a little bit of background on things. You can't just throw spaghetti to the wall. Hopefully it sticks, because sometimes it doesn't, and a lot of people lose a lot of money. Right.
So what's the future? What's next for Somos?
So again, definitely want to just keep expanding. I mean, like my brother was saying, the goal was always to kind of keep this going. We're happy to bring this food that, no one really knows about. No one really knows arepas. Mexican food is huge around us. I feel like everyone knows burritos. Everyone knows tacos. Something a little different like this, people kind of go nuts for it. We've had a lot of great reviews on people, and, it's similar food, but again, just different in the way it comes. So if we can just kind of keep growing on this and expanding, definitely want to get a couple more stores here in Connecticut, and, go out of state and go from there.
Nice. What's a piece of advice you'd give to an entrepreneur, and also family members that want to get into business together? What's a piece of advice you can give them?
For me, I love the slogan, just do it. I think a lot of people with fear don't take any action. And if you believe in your product, if you believe in your startup, if you believe that you can actually change the world, just do it.
Awesome.
I think that's what I would do.
And just touching back, working with family, a lot of people thought we were nuts. You're going to work with your brother. Like, no family business ever ends up well. You guys are going to fight. Like, and everyone was saying that. But I think it works perfect. This is someone that you grew up with. Right. And this is someone, you shared a bathroom with. This is someone who knows you ins and outs. Yeah. And we also know how different we are. Yeah. I think that's the most important thing is, I handle stuff. He handles stuff. We don't step on each other's toes. Obviously, sometimes we butt heads, and obviously sometimes you need to make a decision that, sometimes I don't want that he wants, or vice versa. But it's just kind of knowing and picking the battles and kind of knowing each other. But at the end of the day, we both want the same thing. Yeah. We both want this to succeed. both are family. You know, at the end of the day, we're going to sit down at the dinner table at the end of the night. But you know, it's exciting to wake up and go to work with your brother and growing this awesome thing, someone so close to you.
That's awesome. I love that you worked at a restaurant as well, just to get your feet wet in the industry and kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? So I used to work for a media company in New York. I went to school in New Jersey. After that, I did the cool thing, and you have to go get a corporate job and work in the corporate world. And I did that for a couple of years. I don't know. I enjoyed it, but I just knew I wasn't going to do that forever. Right. So when this guy called me one day, it was like, hey, we're opening up a restaurant. I said, what? He said, yeah, arepas. Like, there's nothing around us. I said, yeah, you're right. And I was in New York at the time, so there's a bunch of them that I would go to for lunch. I said, holy shit, dude. Like, why didn't we think of this? So I said, yep, absolutely. I'll put in my 2 weeks, at work.
My mom was freaking out.
Yeah, my mother was freaking out. Like, how are you going to leave your, how are you going to leave your job?
You got a good job.
You got a good job and benefits and you live on your own. I said, Mom, it's not what I want.
Right.
And lucky enough, I moved back in with my parents, after not living there for years. Biting that bullet is hard,
Talk about sacrifice.
Yeah,
to
and
live your dream.
And not even that, just kind of seeing my friends around me, like, dude, what? You're leaving your job and you're gonna go live with your parents again, and you're gonna get a job at a restaurant, and this is kind of the steps that need to be taken to open up, my dream, our dream.
Well, the food's delicious. We can testify to that, and we're so grateful that you're essentially neighbors. You're close to us right there in Split Rock here in Shelton. I'm glad you guys chose Shelton. Why don't you share your URL or best ways for folks to contact you, or let us know where exactly your locations are and your hours and things like that?
We have 2 locations. One location is on 63 Orange Street, right downtown New Haven, in 9 Square. It's an awesome place. They actually closed down the road, closed the whole block out. So on weekends, there's live bands going on. So there's tables all on the streets. So it's an awesome place. And over here, we're at 702 Bridgeport Ave, Suite 101A, right in Split Rock. Most people order from somosarepas.com. You can go on there and order the food directly, or we're always on the Uber Eats, Grubhub, DoorDash for deliveries.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for being on our show. We wish you the best.
Thank you. This was great.
Excellent. So at this point, we're going to give you a brief brand university segment. And I want to talk today about having a passive influx of business through your website and how important SEO is for that. Typically we'll get 3 to 5 inquiries that come in through our questionnaire that's on our website. People find us through Google search primarily, and that's one of the questions on our questionnaire that's important to kind of find and ask of folks looking for your services. And, when you get to our website, there's a clear call to action. You have 2 options there. You can either fill in the questionnaire and tell us about your project, or you can request a free report card. And we're not currently doing any paid Google ads. That's all with just having good SEO, putting out good content. And your website needs to be working for you. So I want to offer all listeners, and we can say that this segment here is brought to you by Peralta Design, but we're asking all listeners to visit peraltadesign.com and request a free report card for your website. And we'll check out your website across 5 different metrics and make sure that it's performing properly, so that you get your house in order before you spend any money on digital marketing. Make sure that everything's up to par and that people know what to do when they get to your website. And also just want to shout out the M&T Bank Business Accelerator Program at University of Bridgeport. It's going to kick off on September 1st, and I'm going to be one of the instructors there. So I'll be there that day for the kickoff. So for more information, you can reach them on their website, University of Bridgeport website, M&T Bank. They're the new sponsors there of that Business Accelerator Program that's taking place at the Bauer Hall. They're the Bauer Hall Center of Innovation. So again, we'd like to thank our guests. We'd like to thank our listeners for joining us on this episode of Mission Control. Until next time, this is Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands.